time is getting shorter and shorter. And most folks don't understand just how they're running out of time. Time to come to Christ, time to get it right. Time to have some fruit, man. Yeah. And unfortunately, that is a sad thing because, I don't know. Well, I was going to say maybe nobody's telling them they're running out of time, but I think that's pretty prevalent in our society right now. People know we're running out of time. Everybody's saying it. Okay. Yeah, but I find it sad that no one is taking this into account. Yeah. And on the one hand, I'm a husband. Looks like I'm going to be a plumber. I don't know, brothers and sisters. I do everything. I do concrete. I do framing, carpentry, trim carpentry. I do sheetrock. I do doors, windows, siding. I do roofing, man. I do all these things. And lately, I've been doing a lot of plumbing. And I might actually be able to become a licensed plumber here shortly. So, I don't know. But as doing these things, it seems like this provides me with opportunities. Buy a house, build a house, whatever, these kinds of things. And when I see this world falling apart in such a way that this might not be possible for me, it kind of does make me feel low. I'm a married man. I need to provide, provide a place for my wife, man, a place for her garden to grow, a place for the grandkids to come and feel safe, and things maybe aren't going so good in their own houses, so on and so forth. Yeah, all right. And when that makes me feel low, then I start thinking about what's really going on, because just like the rest of you, I can get caught up in the what ifs too. Yeah, the dreams of this world, the desires that are of this world, man, okay. Because what I'm really working for, everything I put my hand to, whether it's a plumbing wrench or whether it's the Word of God, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It all works to the same end. Yes, all right. It's not for those things that are in this world, that place that's of this world, man, those people that are of this world. No, it's for the world to come. Yeah. And that lifts me back up because I know time is short. I don't have as far to go today as I did yesterday. Praise Jesus, brothers and sisters. That's all I'm saying. All right. Yeah. That's the mentality that we need to remind ourselves of. That's the mentality that we need to hold on to, man, as we're struggling and, sludging through this morale down here, whatever the situation is, man. We hold on to that, and that causes us to lift that chin back up and start high stepping again. Yeah. If we should believe that. Okay. Yeah. However, on this journey that we are making, we're going to run into other people. We're going to run into a couple of different kinds of people. We're going to run into those kinds of people that's trying to knock you off your journey, make you lose this path, veer you off of it. Yeah. Now they're going to do that one of two ways. They're either going to be right out in the open with it, or they're going to fake the funk and trick you. Yeah, okay. And then there are going to be those people that you find that's walking with you. Yeah, those people you find strength in. Okay, all right. Well, after having gone over last week about this individual, this leader, this elder, this preacher, this pastor, this reverend, this minister, this priest, I don't even know how many other titles that he'll carry. Yeah. And being able to identify right off the bat whether this guy is of God or not, right up front, because the sooner we identify this, the better for ourselves. Yeah, okay. We also need to identify those people that's on the path with us, because you are not going to be able to do it by yourself. Some of you, after we baptized you and you came and you gotten uplifted, man, and you've gone on to do your thing. Some of you, I tell you, I know you don't need to be babysit. Yeah. But you don't need me holding your hand all your days. But I also tell you that I will be here when you hit that wall. Yeah. All right. Because it's going to happen to all of us. None of us are ever going to be able to make it through on our own. None of us. Yes. Okay. All right. So then we need to know, man, who we can depend on, who we can rely on, and who we cannot. Yeah, let's get to some scriptures this morning. This is Romans chapter 1, verses 16 through 32. And I want to set this up a little bit. You know, part of that lie that they're trying to sell you, man, is that God will always be there. He'll always be there for you, man. Anytime, whatever you're ready, he'll be right there. He's going to chase you the rest of your days. That's what they say. Yeah. And that kind of gives you that false sense of hope, security. Well, you know, man, I know I need to change, but, you know, I'm not ready right now. I need to do this so I can get this, and I need to do that so I can get that. You see what I'm saying? All these excuses that we make for ourselves to keep from turning ourselves towards Christ to be his disciple. Yeah? Well, I'm going to put that to rest today, brothers and sisters, because that is the farthest thing from the truth. Yeah? All right, listen. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believes, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that were made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were they thankful, but became vain in their thinking, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Wherefore, God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, to desire their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections. For even the women did change the natural use unto that which is against nature, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was due. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do them, but have pleasure in them that do them. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but we heard God gave them up 3 times, man. Did you hear that? God gave them up. You know, God is calling you, brothers, without doubt. There can be no doubt of that. For everyone is called. Everyone, man. But only a few are chosen. We went over that about, what was that, Timmy, about 4 weeks ago? Yeah. Many are called, but few are chosen. That's hard for us to understand because, you know, and I broke it down like this, like a job. You know, because the scripture says, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. That's what it says. That makes it sound like all we got to do to be saved is say, God save me. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And yet, Jesus says, not everyone who says, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father. So, we got some things going on here, man. All right. Yeah. Apparently, one of these things that's going on dealing with the truth. The truth. He said, the just shall live by faith, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Now, you know, righteousness was something that I did not understand for a long time. I didn't know what was right. That's what righteousness is. What's right. Yeah. There's two kinds of righteousness, brothers. There's our righteousness and there's God's righteousness. Yeah. Our righteousness is as a filthy rag, according to Isaiah. Yeah. And that is because our righteousness is what we think is right. Yeah, what we think is right. You know, a lot of people out here today have a lot of thoughts about what is right. Yeah, I'm just saying, man. Okay. I bet some of those things that people think is right, even you sitting here don't agree with. Yeah. And maybe some of them you do, I don't know. But that's our righteousness. Then there is God's righteousness. God's righteousness is what He says is right. You know, that thing that most people don't agree with. Yeah. That thing that says, well, you know, man, times have changed. People have changed, man. Yeah, right? Yeah. Except God hasn't changed. God's word hasn't changed. No, it remains the same throughout generation after generation. Okay. So then what does it mean then to hold the truth in unrighteousness? That means simply that you know what God says, and yet you do not believe it. You know it in your mind, but you hold it not in your hearts. That's it. That's all it is, man. Yeah. You know, I struggled with that for a long time. I guess I started sticking myself around 2001, and I don't know, man. I guess probably about 3 years into this, it wasn't fun no more. You know, after I sold everything I owned and pawned and started stealing and, you know, all the other things that people do when they're hustling. Yeah, okay. It wasn't fun anymore. Yeah, those things were not fun. Yeah, and I certainly didn't like the way people looked at me, those people who knew me, man. Yeah, all right. And, but in my mind, I thought that these things were okay. That's why I did them. This is the reason why you do what you do, because it's what you believe. Yeah? If you believe it to be right, then you'll do it. If you believe it to be wrong, then you won't do it, at least until you find that maybe it will benefit you in this world, and then you will compromise. All right. Yeah. But when God says no, and you know this, that's holding the truth in unrighteousness, brothers and sisters. Yeah. And the issue here is that apparently God says that for the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that were made, so that they are without excuse. Man, I was the king of excuses. Huh? Yeah, I'm just saying, man. I could come up with some real good excuses, and I could argue all day long. All right, yeah. But apparently, brothers and sisters, apparently that day that we go before Him at that great white throne, none of us are going to have an excuse for not believing what He says. Yeah. Nobody. What do you think about that? That's wrong, man. Ain't it? Oh, God, I never heard that. Nobody ever told me that before. And yet, you will not have an excuse. Why? Because the invisible things of Him, His Spirit, His power, are clearly seen in the things that are made all around us, brothers and sisters. all around us. Every time you look into the mirror, every time you see something that is alive, His power is clearly seen, because nobody can do what God has done. Nobody. Nobody can bring and make something out of nothing. Science can't do that. No, they cannot. All they can do is manipulate things that are already into existence. Yeah. And neither can a man destroy anything. Anything like that. Can't destroy nothing. Oh man, I can set it on fire, burn it up, man. Yeah, I can vaporize it. Some of you might be even a little smarter. I can vaporize it. Yeah. And yet, whatever that was still exists. It might exist in a different form. It might, instead of being compound molecules, it might just be molecules or even atoms, but it still exists. All right. His power is clearly seen in the things that are made, so that we understand God. We understand the power of God. And if we understand the power of God, brothers, then we know what He says. And on the day we stand before Him, there'll be no excuse for any of us. None of us. Not an excuse. Not one. What do you think about that? I don't know. You know, that caused me to be a little afraid. Because knowing that God tells us this place, He describes it very well. This place that we're going to go to, man, when we don't believe Him. When we don't love Him. When we choose this world over Him. Because that's what judgment is. Do you understand, brothers? That's what judgment is. It's not about God deciding if you was good enough or not. No. That's not what it is. It's about God giving you what you chose in this world. Whether you chose Him to be in His presence for eternity or not, to be outside of His presence for eternity. That's what it is. Yeah. Again, none of us are going to have an excuse. Well, God, I didn't know that. Well, let me ask any of y'all a question that was sitting there saying that a lot of the things that you don't know. Why is it that you don't know them? Why is it that you don't know these things of God? Because you have ignored Him all your life. That's it, brothers. That's what ignorance is. Right? Ignorance is when a person don't know. You can say know any better, but it's when a person does not know. Now, my question to you is, what is the root word of ignorance? Ignore. Ignore. It's not like it hasn't been available to you, and I'm certain it's not like God hasn't sent people to you. Yeah. All right, brothers. But we have ignored it. Now that's why we are without excuse. This is not about you knowing everything and being a perfect man according to the law, according to God's commandments. Though I know that's what we look perfection as, God's commandments, right? Yeah. But that's not what God told Abraham. God told Abraham to be ye perfect and walk before me. Be ye perfect. And yet there was no commandments. There was no law. There was no sacrifices. There was none of these things, man. It was just Abraham and God. Just God speaking to Abraham every now and then. That was it. There was nothing else. So how was it then that Abraham was supposed to be perfect? He was perfect because he believed God. When God spoke to him, he believed him. He believed what He said. And we know he believed him because when God told him to pack up and go to this land, he did. He didn't know where he was going, but he packed up and left. When God kept His promise to Abraham and gave him his son Isaac, He asked him to sacrifice that son. And he was. And he had to do it. He was tried. Just like us, brothers and sisters. We will be tried as well. Only our trial is written down for us. It's not like Abraham who had to sit and chew his fingernails in wonderment. No. The mystery's been revealed to us. Our trial is in God's commandments. This proves whether or not we believe Him. Okay. There's your perfection, brothers. Do you believe God? You know, for a long time, I didn't see it that way. I truly did not. At first, initially, when I first started, doing the God thing, there were some things that, yeah. But these other things, these things that God said not to do or whatever, I was like, man, no, that's not for me, and I make excuses to myself why this is okay for me, you know what I'm saying? Even though God says, no, don't do that, yeah, especially with fornication. Okay, I'm just saying, man, yeah, all right, yeah. Drugs even, okay. Why lying on my timesheet was a good thing? All kinds of reasons, yeah. All right. I didn't understand that. It wasn't so much just that I was doing what God said not to, though I was. It was in that I did not believe Him. That's where my failure was at. It wasn't in the fact that I felt weak, that I did something that God said not to do, though that is a problem. Yeah, no. No, it was in the fact that I did not believe Him. I did not believe that it was wrong. Because, brothers, until you believe that it's wrong, what's stopping you from doing it? How many places have you been to or heard? How many videos have you watched or people that you've heard talk and tell you, oh, well, man, you can't really be perfect. Can't nobody be perfect. Only Jesus is perfect. That's why we got grace, because we can't be perfect. Yeah, we were born to sin. Yeah. How many of y'all heard something like that? Straight up. All right. And yet, what does Jesus say? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Go and sin no more. That's what Jesus says. Yeah. So, if I do not believe what Jesus says, how can I then be perfect? Why do I not believe what Jesus says? Because I ignore Him. And that's why we will be without excuse, folks. That is why. Yeah. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. Reprobate. Anybody know what that means? Have you ever heard that word before? Yeah? Everybody got a smartphone? Wants to look that up? Reprobate. B-A-T-E. I think Miriam's got a good example of it. Unprincipled person, immoral. That's one definition. Yep. A sinner who is not of the elect and is predestined to damnation. That's the archaic version. Yeah. All right. Predestined unto damnation. I've never thought about that. I never looked at anybody being like that. Yeah. I'm just saying, right? Because God loves everybody. Everybody's got a chance, man. Yeah. Okay. Well, brothers, I got something to share with you today. Every single one of us are headed to the same location. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. Yeah. We're all headed to the same place, and we call that place a lake of fire. That's where we're headed. That's not by choice. That's just where we're headed. Now, the choice that we have to make is to be in God's presence. Do you understand? Yeah. And the way that we are able to be in God's presence is by accepting and believing the truth. That's the way, brothers and sisters. That's the way. But I'm telling you now, if you would accept the truth, to believe it, to desire it, life will change. I remember New Year's. Remember the New Year's resolution? I will not tell another lie. I will have a love for the truth. It didn't take her a year after that, brothers. A year to get up out the streets, get cleaned up, get a job, get a place to live, get a car. I'm just saying, to get a life together. Why? She's been trying to do that for years beforehand. Why? What made it any different? She wasn't any different. She was still the same person. It was because she was ready to accept the truth. And once, brothers, we are ready to accept the truth, this is how we make a habitable abode for God. And when God comes to dwell with us, He will manifest Himself. John chapter 14, Jesus says, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you keep my commandments, I and the Father will come and we will make our abode with you and we will manifest ourselves. Brothers, that changes the manifestation. That's the manifestation. To all those around you, yeah. And most importantly, for you. So then, God will give us over, brothers. He will. He will. There is a line. Don't you understand? There is a line that we can cross. And if we cross that line, brothers, I don't know, man. You know, it doesn't say there's no coming back from that. It didn't say that. And He also didn't say where this line was at or when it is that we would cross it. He just says that there is a line. And I think He did that intentionally. Yeah. I think He did that intentionally because, brothers and sisters, unless we're afraid, we will go right up to that line and go right over it. But with a little fear, we might say, yeah, I'm getting close, man. I'm too close. Huh? All right. There's a line, brothers and sisters. There's a line. And these are the things that we do when we do not believe God. Unrighteousness, that's anything that God says is wrong. Yeah. Fornication, well, that's sexual immorality. In the past, we've defined that as sex before marriage. Yeah. But in reality, it's all sexual immorality. Whether it's adultery, whether it's homosexuality, whether it's bestiality, whether it's incest, man, all of it. All the sexual immorality falls under fornication. Yeah. Okay. Wickedness, covetousness. Ooh, man, that's pretty big in the world today, ain't it? Better keep up with the Joneses, man. Yeah. I want what my neighbor's got. Okay. Maliciousness. Maliciousness. You know what that is? Malice. That's when you desire to hurt someone. Yeah. Typically that happens when you have been hurt. You want to get back. You want revenge, man. Yeah, you start thinking of ways to do that, to hurt people. Yeah, okay. Full of envy, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding. So many blind people in the world today, man. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. Covenant breakers. How many people do you know today that actually keeps their word? I'm just saying. Who really keeps their word anymore, man? It used to matter to people. Yeah, all right. Without natural affection. Natural affection, what is that? Natural affection is the love of family. You understand? Yeah. That's what natural affection is. It's natural for us to have love for our families. To love those that love us. Yes. And in these days, this person won't even have natural affection. Man, I know the world is full of that today. Yeah. Who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, and they not only do them, but they have pleasure in them. You know, used to, a lot of these things, people did, but they kind of did on their own. They kind of kept it to themselves. They done it behind closed doors, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But nowadays, these are the kinds of things that people do right out in the street. They parade themselves up right up and down the street doing these things in the open, glorifying and celebrating these things. I'm just saying, yeah. Have pleasure in them that do them. Brothers, that's what a reprobate is. Do you understand? Yeah. All right. Now, I hope that, brothers and sisters, you do not want to be a reprobate. I don't know. A person that is beyond the hope of salvation, predestined unto damnation. I hope that's not what you want to be. Yeah. Because it's always going to be up to you, brothers. Always. The choice is always going to be yours. How you want to live, what you want to be, who you want to be. The choice is always going to be up to you. Yeah? Now, how does this compare to the days that we live in, the times that we live in? Because, as we said during the welcoming, man, time is growing short, brothers. Yeah, time is growing short. And if we read this, we're going to understand how and just why that is. We touched on one of these scriptures last week, but it was for a different purpose. But today we need to understand this. We need to look at this. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 7. What I would like to do is compare the identity or the behavior of the people in these times with these people who are reprobates. Yeah? Okay. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetousness, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. I don't know about you, but there was a lot of words in there that we just read. Proud, boasters, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, without natural affection, lovers of themselves. Yeah, okay, covetousness, full of envy. Yeah. So that these traits of these people in these days, I don't know, brother. I mean, could you look around yourselves in this world and see any of this? Lovers of self. What's it called? What's it called? I'm just saying. Huh? Who we gotta love today? Well, self-love, man. It's all about self-love today. It ain't too much about your neighbor no more. It's all about loving yourself, treating yourself, doing right by yourself, forgiving yourself. That's what it's about today. I don't know, brothers. Have any of y'all heard these things? Is it just me? I mean, I don't get out too much, I'm just saying. Yeah, I watch a little YouTube, but I don't get out too much. All right. Brothers, these days that we're living in, here and now, yeah, all these days where these people exist. And now I know, they try to hide this, man. They try to hide this in, what do you call it, equity and social justice and inclusivity. I understand that, yeah, but, it doesn't make it right. When God says no, when God says that's wrong, that's what it is. I don't care who you're trying to include. I don't care what color they are or what gender they are. I don't care about none of those things, brothers and sisters. What we care about is what God says. That's what we care about. Why? Because we need to identify friend from foe. We need to be able to identify the men that's going to walk with us and help lift us up, not kick us down as soon as we turn our backs. We need to know who our brothers are. You guys that are in the program, I said this last week, I've said it before, and I want to say it again. You find a brotherhood, man. Yeah. You find strength. You find help in other people who are in the same situation that you were in, who are now desiring the same thing that you're desiring, to be free, to be sober, man, to be a productive member of society, perhaps. I don't know, but all the things that goes along with that, you find that in other people, and that gives you strength. But one day you're going to leave that place. And those people are not going to be around you 24/7 where you can just bounce off of them every time you need to. Yeah, you have a meeting. What about the rest of the day? Brothers and sisters, we need to understand how to surround ourselves with this brotherhood. And the way to do that is to know who is and who isn't. Not that we hate those who aren't. It's got nothing to do with it. No, man. It's just that we know who is. Because, brothers, if we didn't socialize at all with those people who aren't, who would we minister to? Who would we bring into this kingdom with us? That's all I'm asking. Okay. All right. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Now, I'm betting some of you at the very least, I don't know, let's go back to into 2019. Heck no, let's go back to election 2016. Right? Yeah. This is when I started noticing the craziness the most. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Let's go back and let's look at the minds of people who stood up for things or was against things. Yeah? Yeah. Things that just didn't make no sense, man. They weren't rational. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How can you say this? How can you believe this? I mean, look, right here, it's blue, man. Can't you see it's blue? No, man, it's red. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm looking right at it. It's blue. That kind of stuff. Y'all experience that? Y'all see that in people? Am I the only one? All right. Why? Why is that happening, man? I mean, it's beyond comprehension how and why that this is happening. There's a lot of issues, brothers. I don't come down to pick on issues or pick on people or pick on groups. That's not my point. But I think we all understand what's being said. Yeah? Okay. I'm not here to pick on anybody or anything. I'm here to lift everybody. Do you understand? I don't care where you were at, what you did, what you thought, what you believed, who you stood with, and what you stood for. I don't care about none of that, brothers. All I care about today is lifting you in Christ that you might stand for the truth because you're ready to now accept the truth. Because until you accept the truth, you're going to be a reprobate beyond the hope of salvation. All right, let's read these scriptures. See, maybe we can understand why this is. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now lets will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his